This is the reconstructed burial mound near Hochdorf in Baden-Württemberg, Germany. In 1978, one of the richest burials of the European Iron Age was found here, the grave of the so-called Celtic Prince of Hochdorf. After the excavation, the mound was restored to its original size. It was originally 6 meters high. The unrobbed burial was in a 5 by 5 meter burial chamber made of oak beams. A kind of wooden box was built around this burial chamber, measuring 7.5 by 7.5 meters. The space between them was filled with stones. This construction was intended to protect the tomb from grave robbers. The mound, which originally had a diameter of about 60 meters, was built on top of it. This photo shows the reconstruction of the burial chamber in the Museum of Hochdorf. The dead man himself was about 40 years old and 1.80 meters tall, which was very tall for that time. He was lying on a bronze couch almost 3 meters long, which stood on 8 movable wheels. The man wore a hat made of birch bark, a gold neck ring as a status symbol, as well as a bronze dagger and beaked shoes. At his feet stood a large, 80-centimeter-high, bronze cauldron, which was filled with 400 liters of honey mead at the time of burial. The huge vessel comes from a Greek workshop and was therefore imported from the Mediterranean region. Thus, this cauldron represents a parallel to the crater of Vix, which also was found in a magnificent Celtic tomb. Of course, drinking vessels were also needed. These are drinking horns that were hung on the wall behind the dead man's head. The largest of them, which undoubtedly belonged to the deceased himself, was made of iron and held 5.5 liters. The other 8 were aurochs horns and only half the size. They were intended for guests of the prince during drinking bouts. This photo shows the cauldron and the drinking horns, that means the entire drinking set, as the objects are exhibited in the museum today. In the middle, the host's iron drinking horn. To the left and right of it are the other drinking vessels. In the foreground is the Greek bronze cauldron. There are 3 lion figures on the cauldron. 2 of them were made around 540 BC by a Greek bronze caster. They can be used to date the vessel by comparison with other lion statuettes. The 3rd figure was apparently made by a local artist. Even though it is less sculptural, it is nevertheless an outstanding example of Celtic toritics. In addition to these drinking vessels, there was also a set of eating utensils in the tomb, which was equally intended for 9 people. It was stacked on top of a cart that you can see in the foreground in this photo. It was probably on this 4-wheeled carriage that the deceased was also taken to his grave. Here you can see a reconstruction of this cart, which was almost completely covered with sheet iron and is therefore very well preserved. Also preserved is the bridle for the 2 horses that pulled the cart. The princely grave of Hochdorf, here in aerial view, is one of the richest graves of a high-ranking person of the later Hallstatt culture. With its imported bronze cauldron, it clearly shows the extensive trade relations that connected the Celts with the Mediterranean in the second half of the 6th century BC. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe so you won't miss new ones.